Hey there, everybody. It's RCK. Glad to have you back on this Friday. This is when I'm posting a video, of course. Today we're going to be going over a EA nation, one I enjoy quite a bit. This is EA Rus. So going ahead and looking at this, humans and chuds it's like a Russian type of people, a Russian themed. They like bears a lot. They prefer cold scales. Um, they have cold resistance on all their troops. Human infantry and the Chud warriors, which we will go over later. Their magic is air, nature, fire, earth, and astral, and some summons that they do have for us. Other than that, priests, they're medium. They have holy twos, but they don't go up to holy threes. I don't. Well, actually, they might have holy threes. Nope, nope, just holy ones, and they have holy twos. I'm sorry, I had to click through there. I couldn't remember. I didn't think they got holy threes, but I wanted to check just to make sure. It could possibly be summons. Um, I already went over that. Expensive and few, that's very true. Primitive forts, you won't be able to go up to castles. I think you can only make palisades, and then there's another kind of fort after that, but it's not going to look like a castle. It's still going to look like a palisade. Your temples are only going to cost you 200, so that's a very upside, them being 50% off. I'll go over the god later. We'll go ahead and look at the sites for this nation. So we have Oak of Storms. You'll be able to have one air gem and one nature gem from this site. This is in your capital, of course. This site here being Pine of Skulls. This is going to give you one nature and one astral. And then lastly, we have Hall of the Dawn. And this is going to give you one air and one fire. So in total, you will have a 6 gem capital being one fire, two air, one astral, two nature. Really, really good. Um, as far as the nation goes, I feel like you're definitely going to be wanting nature a lot. It's a good thing you have those. And honestly enough, being that you have fairly high level air magic, which is surprising. I don't know. I just find it surprising whenever I look at them. I don't really picture them as a high air magic nation, but they actually are, and we'll go over that later, of course. But having two air income in the beginning is going to be very, very nice for them. Hopefully, you can get a stockpile relatively fast, and also getting some site searchers out early for that, of course. Next, we're going to start looking at the units you have here. If you go ahead and look at the bottom of the screen, this Russian hunter can be recruited outside of forts as well. So very, very interesting. What you're going to have is a few of these Rus troops being able to be recruited outside of forts. So you'll be able to mass them if you decide to go with this certain one. Now this is just a uh, cheap short bow in a way, undisciplined. So that's very unfortunate. Not, I wouldn't particularly. I don't particularly like them too much. The only thing good about them is that they have stealth. That's the only thing. Maybe you can do some deep raiding with small groups of these guys. That could definitely work out. Next, we have the Rusian warrior. Cold resistance. Like I mentioned earlier, they're all going to have cold resistance. Overall, very average troop. I honestly wouldn't make them unless you needed, say, chaff. But for this nation, a lot of your chaff are going to be from summoning, and we will go over that. You have a Russian warrior, or you also have another Russian warrior, but this is the axe variant. Honestly enough, I do like the axe more than the spear, even though the spear is going to have pierce damage, and normally enough you would like to have pierce damage, but due to the fact that the axe warrior is going to be dealing 18 slash already, you really wouldn't need the pierce damage much at all when it comes to early age, because like many early age nations, your armor is, or your protection um, protection value is going to be relatively low in the early age. So this is going to get the job done most of the time. Next, we can start looking at our Chuds. First, we have a Chud Warrior. Double the cost in gold, already gone up from 10 to 20. Roughly the same amount of resources. Recruitment points, I believe, have gone up too. a very small amount, but they have gone up. And you will notice that these troops will have higher hit points, just kind of showing that the Trudes are more sturdy people. They have higher hit points. Their protection, they have a little bit better protection as far as that goes, I believe. And I'll just go back and forth to make sure. One protection, really not much. But the 7 extra hit points definitely shows that they are not humans anymore. They are a special type of human. 12 magical resistance is nice. It's definitely better than 10, but also the morale is relatively nice, being 13. 16 damage, pierce damage, spear, very nice. I would say it's better than the 18 damage axe at that point, but you have to take in consideration that it's going to be double the cost. So it's really what you want to mass. Cold resistance 5, they have snow move. So we'll go ahead and head over to the Trude Hunter here, and it says can be recruited in your capital and in all forests. So very similar to the Russian Hunter, but he is you're only able to recruit him in forest in your capital, which will still come in handy from time to time. Now, if you were making these are much better, as I would put it, raiders at that point. Better than the Russian hunters by far, due to the fact that they are berserk. I just like having berserk units. Yes, they are still undisciplined, unfortunately, and yes, they do cost about 2.5 times more gold. Yep, 2.5 times more gold. Even though these are better units, usually enough you want your raiding parties to be very, very cheap, very cost effective. You don't want to lose them and be like, you don't want to like take a loss of them and then it actually hurt you. You want them to be like cheap throwaway units that you can easily just move around, stealthy in a way, hopefully, and just kind of raid around your enemy and cause them, well, give them a little bit of economic turndown, being that every province that you cut off is one less they get income from. And so at the end of the day, it's going to hurt their amount of, well, it's going to hurt the amount of stuff they can recruit or make every turn, of course. Other than that, not too much. They have the same amount of hit points as the other Chewed Warriors. A little bit low protection, same morale, magical resistance as the other Chewed Warriors. Their attack and defense skill is a little bit above average for normal troops, and usually around 10 for average. But as far as the units you're going to be wanting for your armies, they're going to be divided in between these three. I honestly I think these next 3 units are the best units that Russ has as far as their lineup of recruitable units. First, you're going to have a Chewed Berserker, 35 gold, 13 resources, 28 recruitment points. These guys are relatively expensive, but they are going to be worth it for sure. Strength 13, attack skill 12. They will have double attacks, one being an axe, one being broadsword, 19 slash and 21 slash. Also being a berserker unit that is ambidextrous, so they don't take a penalty for using the 2 weapons. They have cold resistance and map move. These guys, they're going to be 3 to a square. So with an attack density of 6 per square, it's going to be very, very nice. And you can kind of consider these almost to be Vanheir like. Not Vanheir. I think they're Vanheir. I can't. They're the berserkers for Vanheim for the early age, and then they're sacred in the early age, but for middle age they're not sacred anymore. But they're kind of the same unit in a way. I'll have to have them up side by side to actually compare them like that. But they are berserkers, and they do have I think they have a sword and an axe as well. And this is just kind of what it reminds me of here. Protection of 12, not too bad. Magic resistance 12, morale 13. Morale's not going to matter because when they go berserk, they'll have morale 99. 17 hit points is kind of nice, and that kind of means that they're going to be able to take a hit and go berserk and not die from that initial hit. Combat speed 13. Not too bad. But yeah, very, very nice unit here. Next, we're going to be going over your Sacred, and that's going to be a Chud Skin Shifter. 65 gold, 33 recruitment points. A lot of people like take meme blesses for this. I mean, I have before, and some fun games. There are definitely good sacreds, but you don't want to be basing your in-game around a sacred that you can only make from your capital. Because, like I said, they're only going to take you but so far, and you're going to get to a point where if you lose 60 sacreds, that's going to be a major blow to your nation, and it's definitely going to happen. 19 hit points, size 2. They only have protection 7 since they're only wearing furs. Magical resistance 13 is pretty nice. Morale 14 is nice. They have relatively high attack skill, which is good. Defense skills, eh. Strength is nice at 14. They carry a battle axe that's going to be dealing 26 slash damage. They also have berserk as well, which is very nice. And then they also have recuperation. So overtime, well, I'm saying that because I saw the word overtime, of course. As the battles go on, as more you have more and more battles with these units, they're gonna get afflictions, and then they're just gonna heal themselves, which is very very nice, and that's going to definitely uh, help out with the attrition that you're going to take from battle after battle. And it's always really nice to have. I know Pangea has their sacreds have recuperation, and it's very nice for them as well. Um, and usually enough, these units aren't going to die too often because they are shape changers. After they drop past their 19 hit points, they're going to change their shape into a sacred bear, which will be very, very nice. And I think they have around 20 to 30 some hit points. I can't remember. So, I mean, it's a very large HP pool that they're actually going to have to fight through to actually kill this unit. So that is very, very good. I already went over that they're a sacred unit. Next, we have the Bear Warrior. This is also like the Berserker that you have, the Russian Berserker. Or is it Chud Berserker? Chud Berserker, my bad. Very, very similar to him. This is a cheaper unit, being 18 gold, but I believe you can only recruit these guys, can recruit in all forests, so you have to recruit them in a forest. 18 gold, so very, very cheap. Low resource, kind of lower recruitment points. 13 hit points is okay. Protection is 7. Okay, decent. Low defense skill, that's definitely not the great. But they have their ambidextrous, of course, and they have 220 damage slash axe attacks, which is really, really nice. And just like the Berserkers, they're able to stack it up. And I believe they berserk even more than the Berserkers do, and they are also stealthy, which is pretty cool. I forgot these guys were stealthy. So these are probably actually a much, much better choice as far as your stealthy units for raids go. Much better than the Russian Hunter, and then also much better than the Shrewd Hunter. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say much better. I mean, I feel like they have different roles to play in both times, but these are very, very good units, but they are undisciplined, and that is the downside to them, and that is why I think the Berserkers are just a little bit better than the Bear Warriors. Even though it seems like the Bear Warriors get a higher Berserk, yeah, they do get a higher Berserk bonus, where Berserking is 2 for the Berserkers and 3 for the Warriors, which is interesting to me, honestly. I'm surprised the Berserkers don't have more than the Bear Warriors, but it's kind of whatever at this point. But these are kind of like cheaper units. You know, if they die, it's not too bad. I mean, because at the end of the day, a Berserker is going to be around twice as much as a Bear Warrior is, and that's, I mean, you get 2 Bear Warriors for 1 Berserker. The only downside is that they are undisciplined, so keep that in mind. We'll go ahead and start looking over the commanders we have. We have a Scout, very average, not too much to say about him. Next, we have the Russian Chieftain, 60 leadership, very average leader. You definitely have better choices to get morale bonuses. Russian Priest, this is just the recruiting any castle priest that you're going to have that's going to be a holy one. At times he can be useful. Maybe can lead small raids with your sacreds for sure, with a small amount of them, and he'll be able to bless them all. I wouldn't throw him out because if he does die and they run, I mean they are relatively expensive, so you would want them with someone that's a little bit more heftier. Um, this is going to be your research mage, a Russian wizard, 125 gold, fire 1, nature 1 with a random. He does have 13 starting off, and he does give supply bonus, but that is from the nature part, of course. And he's an adept researcher, which is nice. And I'll just go ahead and show you the randoms that he has. And there's 100% random for either air, earth, astral, and nature. And honestly, I feel like every one of these are really good to have. Probably the least one you would want would be air. Um, as far as Earth goes, you can thug him out. He can cast some really good thug spells. If you decide to, maybe, I mean, I feel I can see him definitely taking out 6 to 10 PD. I don't think he would ever be a super combatant because he's only human size, but he can definitely take 6 to 10 PD out depending. All the astral ones would be great to have for astral communions. Um, the nature bonus will give you go up to nature 2, which is nice to have. Definitely can do some cool things with that. Other than that, low leadership, low morale, low protection, just a very meh mage as far as like that stuff goes. But I mean, you can put all the equipment slots on there if you decide to do some light thugging with him. It definitely works. Kind of expensive. Um, Upkeep wise and gold wise, as far as your research monkey will go. This is just kind of your best thing you have. Other than that, I mean, everything else is going to be more expensive, which is kind of unfortunate, which is going to force you to be into a more scaly magic based nation. I mean, because if you take Magic 3, you're going up to 16 research per turn. I mean, that's pretty good. That's really good for 125 cost gold mage, with the upkeep of only 100. But at the same time, is it really worth the 3 magic points? Because that is 120 pretender design points. But I do feel like there are some things you're going to want to reach early. So certain magic goals. We'll go ahead and head over to the next next mage that we have, and this is going to be the Son of Heaven. He can only be recruited in the capital. So this is a recruit or a cap only recruitable. He is going to be a fire 1, air 1, nature 1 with 1 random, being fire, air, astral, or nature. I honestly feel like every one of these are good. Having nature 2 is good. Having an astral 1 is good. You can throw him in communion, but you have to be careful since at that point he could be magic dueled. Also, air 2 is decent. He can do some decent things. Fire 2 is okay, but it's probably your least liked one, but he can still cast some decent spells. But the main thing about this guy here is he has 125 leadership, and this is going to be the guy that is going to be leading armies around for you because he has a morale bonus of +2, and he only takes 1 turn to make. He does have a kind of steep cost at 270. It's not too bad. He is sacred himself. He is a priest level 2. Another thing with that, if he does come out to be astral, you can have 2 astral slaves underneath him, which will boost him up to Holy 3, so you can cast Divine Blessing with this unit, which would be really, really nice, really easy to do. He does have decent morale and very nice magical resistance, actually. I'm surprised. Very, very low protection. Keep that in mind. Very low protection. If anything gets close to him, there's a good chance if he doesn't hit them first, they're going to kill him. Only 20 hit points. He only has robes on. Other than that, he does have magical leadership, so you can keep that in mind. If you do make any units as such, he can lead a small amount of them, which could come in handy from time to time. Next, we have the Daughter of the Sun, a 285 cost mage. Your upkeep is about the same as your Russian wizards, almost, with 14 gold difference. This is going to be a fire 2, nature 1, holy 1, with a 1, well, actually there's 2 randoms on this, being a fire, air, astral, nature for 100%, so you will be getting one of these and a 10% chance to actually get another fire, air, astral, or nature. Could be good. Going up to fire 3 I think is nice because at that point you'll be able to cast some conjuration spells that will boost you even higher into fire, which would be very, very nice for you. Other than that, I mean, nature 2 is decent. Air, you really don't want the air random as much. That'd be the least liked one. Astral would be good. Always could put them in communions. Next, we can go over to our next unit that we're going to have, and this is the Percunu. And this is going to be your another cap only unit, but this is going to take 4. Actually, does the sun? Okay, that's only a 1-turn mage to make, but this is going to be a 2-turn mage at a cost of 380. But what you're paying for is going to be an air 3 mage and an astral 1, which you have to be careful about because, like I said, they definitely can die to magic duel. So keep that in mind. You want to have these guys protected. You want to have a lot of other astral astral mages in here with them. So because if there's just 1 or 2 of these guys, they're definitely going to get magic dueled, and you'll have to be mindful of who you're fighting against and when you're using these units, and who you're bringing along with them. Nature 2, Holy Ones with a 10% random to get anything higher. The air would be very, very nice since at that point you'll be air 4 and you'll be able to make a winged helmet, which will push you up to air 5. Other than that, I don't think. Yeah, you definitely want to get that because at that point you'll be able to cast things like I can't remember right now, but it's like where all of your units are misformed. I can't remember. I will have to look at it later. Let me see, Sacred, shock resistance 20, which is a pretty ridiculous amount of shock resistance. Just surprising to see on a unit. Cold resistance 5, a shape changer. So he is a werebear. He'll change to a bear when he goes below his 19 hit points. He also has recuperation, which is very, very nice to have on a mage like this. You're not going to ever have to really worry about the old age thing, of course. But if you did, I mean, he will recuperate from it. Supply bonus is 20. That's just from the nature level 2. We will go ahead and research really doesn't matter. You have much better things you want these guys doing than researching. Another thing about this is since he is a air 3 mage, he can definitely do a lot of cloud trapezing, and I can see you thugging up this guy for sure and doing a lot of cloud trapezing to where I mean that's a decent raider at that point. Next, we have a Russian Chieftain, can recruit it in all non-forts. Pretty nice, sacred. At this point, he could be an easy scout that can be recruited anywhere. Whereas your scout can also be recruited outside of forts, so it's not that big of a deal. A Chud Chieftain, not too much. You have troops that have much better leadership than he does. Yeah, he's only got 40, so he's a rather poor leader. It's the Son of Heaven that is going to be the very nice leader for your armies. But then you also have a Thunder Priest here, and an Air 2 Mage. Very nice to have for Thunder Strike spam or Air Elemental spam. It's just going to take another gem per cast. But he could random up to Air 3, which would be nice. So keep that in mind. In-adept researchers, so you don't want these guys researching. They're rather expensive as well, but their upkeep is actually lower than the Russian wizard, which is quite interesting. I would have to do the math on that to actually see how long it takes for the Thunder Priest to kind of be more cost effective than the Russian wizard. But at that point, you also have to think about the total amount of research points that each one of them would be. Because even if, I mean, I think the Russian Wizard is 13 research points, and this unit here is 11. So with the Wizard, you'll be getting 2 more per turn. But overall, the Wizard will be costing you more over time. So as far as getting research early, you probably still want to go with the Wizard. Even if you get, if you want magic skills, of course they would both get +3 if you decide to go up to 3. So this would be 14 per turn. But at 235 cost per, very, very expensive as the initial upfront cost anyway, whereas the other one's 120 for 16 research points, I believe. So, something to think about. I think you should probably still go with the wizard, but this is a very, very nice mage to bring along in your armies for Thunderstrike spam and things as such. Very nice combat mage. Could do castings of Swarm. Could do a lot of things. And it can be recruited in all forests. That is the thing I was trying to remember about him. So every forest you take, you can start recruiting a Thunder Priest, but you'll have to build a lab and a temple. So at that point, you might as well go ahead and build a castle too. And then, since we've just finished up that, we're going to be looking over at research, I suppose. Due to the fact that you have air 3s, I think you have a strong possibility of going for air elementals. It's a little sketchy since they're astral 1s and you have a very good chance of them dying. But, I mean, as far as conjuration goes, you just have so many spells and or summonable things. That's why I really enjoy Rust, because they have so much flavor in just their all of their summons, and this is something you will definitely have to check out because I can't sit here and summon every one of these. As far as the really nice summons go, and I think one you're going to be casting a whole lot. You will be casting a Summon Firebird. I know a lot of people like these. They have Fortune Bringer, and so what happens is they give you more of a chance to have good events in certain provinces, and they're very, very cheap to make. I can see you making a lot of these with your wizards. But Summon Bears is a very, very nice one to have. It's only 8 nature gems, and it's going to give you 7 sacred bears. So very, very nice, very large hit pool sacks, I guess, hit pull sacks. Um, they're going to be there. I'm pretty sure they have decent. Well, they might be undisciplined, but either way, I think they still have decent siege strength. Definitely nice chaff to have, and of course they are sacred, so your bless will be able to go on them, regardless if you decide to go with a small or a large bless. If you notice, a lot of these sacreds are going to be what's the word I'm thinking of? There are going to be a lot of paths that you don't have nationally. So you'll either have to take them on a pretender or get lucky on an indie mage. Now, some of these are not too bad. Astro isn't too bad. Like, you don't have any water. You could get up to Air 4 potentially. Nature 4 isn't too bad. Nature 6 you could do. But death and water are going to be tough, and you have a few national spells like that. As I wouldn't probably recommend Conjuration first. I feel like you have much better ideas. I feel like you definitely need Thaumaturgy 1 to go after anything, just to get these two things for potential of small communions. Other than that, you have a few decent nature spells like Sleep and Sleep Cloud as such. I know people really like those spells lately, and they do a pretty good job. Um, I'm just scrolling through as I'm talking. As far as Thaumaturgy goes, I really only recommend level 1 for a good while until you decide to go farther, because you just really want those communion spells to begin with. I always really like going for not mass flight as mass protection. Is it even on this? No, it's alteration. I'm a dummy. Um, Mass protection. Even though as in alteration 7, if you notice, all your units have very, very low protection. I mean, their highest units are going to have like 12 protection. Even then, I believe their natural protection is only going to be around 2-ish. So giving an increase up to 10 is going to be very, very nice for you. Other than that, Fog Warriors would be nice if you're able to get there. It's going to cause, or it's going to make you make some items at that point to get up that high to level 5, or at least get your recruitable units right at level 3, getting extra item to 4, and then giving them an extra gem will get them to 5, so you'll be able to cast that fairly well. Or you could put them in communions and do it just as easily. So, but a very, very nice spell for you to have. Marble Warriors is good. The only bad side is it's an area of effect spell, so potentially you might not be able to get as high. But when you're thinking about it, you really don't have too high of Earth mages. You might have Earth 1. At that point, you'll have to have a random Astral, which I don't know if you can get at the same time as having an Earth. So that's interesting. I'll have to look at that. Um, as far as the other things, you're definitely going to want to go down alteration anyway because you want to have Mother Oak, and potentially, depending on what nations are playing in the game, that might also kind of make you decide on your targets are, because you don't want anyone bothering Mother Oak. So nations like Pangea, they're gonna try to cast it. Nations like Marverni, they're gonna cast it. There's a couple others in EA that also want to have Mother Oak up. So you might target them in the beginning just to take them out of the game early, or maybe cause a coalition against them, just to capitalize on having Mother Oak, because you're going to want a lot of nature gems as Rus, just so you can have as many bears and other summons that you could have. Other than that, Swarm is a decent one that will kind of weaponize all of your nature ones and nature twos. Um, I've seen Swarm do a lot of damage when you're able to cast it enough. You'll have to have a lot of castings, and we'll be able to kill armies, depending. Other than that, I would say that's about it in alteration. I mean, yes, there's all different kinds of spells, but I'm not going to say, oh, well, Misform is a good spell to have because you have Air 2s and Air 3s. But yeah, kind of everyone knows that. I'm just kind of thinking of like really big key spells that you're going to definitely be using or want to get to for sure. So we will go ahead and look at something like Enchantment. This is more of a late game thing, but also a great spell to have would be well, Gift of Help is really, really good too if you're able to cast it. Gift of Help is nice. Mass Regeneration is really great to have since all your bears are going to have so much HP, and just giving them regeneration would be nice without having to take the points and use it towards a bless. You can just get high up in Magic. I mean, yeah, Enchantment level 8 is very high, but this is very late game. Don't forget about that. Um, Gift of Health is also very late game. Serpent's Blessing is nice to have if you don't take poison resistance on your bless. Relief is nice to have. Well, you can't do Val Papers because you don't have water. Um, let's look over. Well, construction's decent. Um, at least getting to your boosters like level 4 and level 6 will give you access to very, very nice boosters. I definitely like taking high astral path pretenders and getting up to the rings of like wizardry and the rings of sorcery, and getting up to astral 7. I think I usually try to get up to 7 or 8, and at that point there's not many things you can't forge having those two items and having other boosters with you. That will just open you up to so much, and I normally do take high astral pretenders just for that reason. Evocation, you're going to have really nice spells like Lightning Bolt, that's all your mages can cast. Mist is actually a decent one that your mages can cast as well. It come in handy. I know a lot of people don't cast this, but it's something to keep in mind. especially with heavy archer nations, or if they even have any archers. I mean, using one air gem to cast mist is always nice to have. Magic Duel, you will end up having a decent amount of Astral 1, so keep that in mind that you can also potentially use your Astral 1s to counter their Astral Mages. Thunder Strike is going to be nice to have, dealing lots of damage. You can also do things like Storm pretty easily, so even greater greater counteract the precision and missiles towards you, but it will also stop your missiles as well, so keep that in mind. Or arrows, whatever you want to call them. Other than that, I mean, Orb Lightning's okay, but you have to be careful because it can hit your own troops, I believe. I don't see you ever wanting to really cast Wrathful Skies or Perpetual Storm. Shimmering Fields is really too high a level air for you. Can't do that. I've seen some people cast Storm of Thorns, and it's quite interesting to actually see if anyone's ever cast it before. It's kind of cool. Other than that, I don't see nothing in level 8 for you. I really don't see anything. Maybe Chain Lightning, Flamestorm if you have high fire, and we talked about that, how high you can get in fire. But nothing in particular here for you. Just really storming up. We've already gone over Conjuration, Alteration, Evocation, Construction. That must have been everything. Yeah, I think that was everything. You don't have any special blood summons. I feel like I'm missing out on a few of these. There are just so many. I've gone over them one time, or I've looked over them one time before, but most of them aren't too big of a deal. A lot of them are just kind of like meh. The water ones are not the best, I don't think. I feel like a few of these might be able to break you in a few paths. Actually, let me pull them up on my other computer just so I can look at them real quick. I really apologize. Normally enough, I have this stuff ready, but let me just bring that up. I apologize. And then after this, we will look over the expansion that I had, of course. Waiting for Mod Inspector to load. I've been trying to go through the units and the commanders relatively fast. I know I think the last national overview I did was relatively long, along with the what's the word, the series that I'm playing. So the Great Bear that you're going to have from the Summoned Bears is going to be 44 hit points, and they're going to be sacred animals that are undisciplined. The Summon Smurgle, that is going to be a Air 1 ritual. It requires 1 gem. Just kind of like a Griffin type unit, relatively low in hit points, being 13. So it's like a winged dog. I really don't see any use for this. We looked over Firebird, Fire Resistance 5, Bringer of Fortune. Magic is a magic being, and he's also an animal. 8 hit points. You don't want to bring these guys in a battle. You want them to sit in the castle and pretty much create you money through events. Sin Lady Midday. That's going to be a commander, actually. It's going to be a stealth 60, fear +5. Ethereal flying. Flies and storms, assassin, female with spirit sight. Low hit points being 6. It's okay if you want an assassin, but it is going to cost you 10 air gems while also having a air and death path. The Contact Serene, It's going to be 8 pearls. I should probably scroll up for you guys to see the ones I'm talking about. There's Serene there. There's the Bears. There's the Firebird. There's Myrtle. So we're on the Serene right now. And let me head over back to Modern Spectre. Let's see what it says. It's a summonable bird. It has 2 claws. It has Dream Seduction, so morale versus 14. So maybe you'll be able to pick off some commanders with this guy. Stealthy is only 50. Not too bad. I can see you. He's also sacred as well. Um, might have a little bit of use for him. Send Vajnoy. It's going to be your Water 2 summon, and it's going to cost you 20 gems. It's going to be this one right here. Let's go ahead and look at him. Okay, so this is going to be stealth. It's also a stealthy commander. Supply bonus. It's going to be a Water 3, Nature 1. So potentially you could put a few, or 1 or 2 paths into water for your commander, or not for your commander, for your pretender, and that's going to be a way to increase your magic diversity through this summon here. Since you'll go up to Water 3. On top of that, I can't tell if he is amphibious or not. I don't think he is. No, he's actually aquatic. Um, so unfortunate. But it is a way to get higher water if you want it. So next we'll look at the summon Rusalka. And it's just another commander. It's going to be a Water 1, Death 1 commander. Even though it takes that to actually summon it. Does have water breathing, a stealthy 60, has the perfect dark vision, resistant to poison 25, resistance to cold 15. It also has seduction, but it's going to be morale versus 9, so not very, very good seduction, not compared to the other ones that you had. It does cost you 16 water gems. I feel like there's a very steep price for that, but I'm not sure. I probably wouldn't summon them myself. Next we have summon Liko, Claude, Curse, attacks, stealthy 60, Bringer of Fortune -10. So this is going to be the opposite of the Firebirds. And it also increases monthly unrest 5 per month. I really don't like this unit much. I guess what it will do is a stealthy unit that you can put in your enemy's provinces that will cause them bad events and also cause them unrest. But if they start patrolling and they kill your 10 gem costing unit, that's going to be rather sad. We'll look at the next one here, and the next one is going to be Contact Alconost. And that commander is also going to be another bird, but this is going to actually be a Holy 3, which is nice. And honestly, for an Astral 2, which you're going to take on your pretender, being only 15 gems, having multiple Holy 3s is really, really nice to have, since you'll be able to claim multiple thrones at one time. So keep this one in mind. This is a very useful one to have and think about. Also having multiple Divine Blessing casters would be nice to have, so you can have multiple armies moving. It has awe +5. It's inspirational too, but it only has a leadership of 40, so you really wouldn't want him to lead the troops. Shock resistance 15, but it's a bird, so it only has item slots of a head and 2 miscellaneous. So we'll head over to the next one, but definitely keep the Contact Alchemist in mind. So we'll look at we already went over this one. We'll be looking at the Summon Zimeg next, and that is going to be for 2 fire and 5 fire gems. It's going to be a fire-breathing dragon, essentially. It looks like it has 3 heads, so it also has 3 bite attacks. So very high density. Only 45 hit points, 13 protection. It's okay. It's actually not that bad for 5 fire gems. I feel like it could be useful. The fire breath attack could be very, very nice to have. It has ammunition of 5, so he's able to do it 5 times. But it's only area effect of 1. But it's heat and fire, armor piercing, magic weapon. So not too bad, I guess. I could see you using those from time to time, just as a little fun thing to do, or there might be a few units that might actually be good against, so keep that in mind as well. Fire 2 is easy for you to get to. Next, we will look at the Sand Bivak, and that's going to be very high in water. It's a very interesting unit. You guys need to actually check this out in Mod Inspector. It's weird. It has Gore and 2 tentacle moves. It's got Fear +5. I mean, I can switch to Mod Inspector, but at the same time, I don't want to show you my screen. The Aimless Aquatic. So I guess it's like a unit that you can send, like Call of the Winds, where it sends all the birds to attack a certain province. I believe it's the same as that. I'm kind of steep to have it cost path required of 4. Kind of unfortunate since it's very high. Next, we'll look at the... Which one are we looking at? The Contact Gamoyun. 25 Astral Pearls. Does cost 3 Astral, or path required is 3 Astral. So you'll be able to do it with your Pretender if you take high Astral, which I plan on doing. All 3 Adept Researcher 6, Fortune Teller 15. As far as the magic paths go, which is quite interesting, it's a Air 2, Astral 2, and it's going to be like your highest Astral as far as recruitable units go so far. Well, this is a summonable unit, but all your other recruitable units, I think as far as they get, will be normally Astral 1 and maybe a low chance of being Astral 2. These units are Holy 2s. They'd be great if they were Holy 3s. I'd say skip the other unit completely, being the Alchemist, and just recruit or just save your pearls for this. But I mean, Astral 2s are decent to have. You can definitely do some things. You can give them some gems, them do anti-magic. You can have them forge a helmet, give them a helmet. I think it's a helmet. I'm pretty sure it's a Star Sign Skullcap. Go up to Astral 3. At that point, you can give them an extra gem to use their casting in. They can cast Doom and will curse all the units on the enemy side. That'd be very, very useful. This is also a flying unit. Next, we'll look at the Contact Bergina, and that is going to be right here. So it's going to be path required of 3 water and then 1 earth. 35 gems, very, very steep, being that you don't make any water gems to begin with. And just looking at this unit, I really don't like it. This is amphibious though. What you're getting is you're getting a water 3, earth 1, nature 2 commander. But I mean, if you use that to cast it, you already have a water 3, earth 1. Do you really need a nature 2 with that? It has awe, not really a big deal. Spirit side, not a big deal. Only 8 hit points. Having a 35 gem summonable 8 hit point unit is kind of sketchy to have. Definitely dangerous. You'll take a big loss if you do lose that unit. So next we're going to be looking at Contact Mountain and Contact Cloud Villa. First one we'll be looking at is Mountain, just because it's on the list first on this. Source Terrain says Mountain to border. Maybe you only be able to cast this in the mountains. It's a very nice looking unit model. I've never seen it before. It is a Astral 1, Nature 3, Air 2. It also has Healer, which you don't see that quite often on units, especially summoned ones. Has a few resistances, not too much to mention. I mean, just cold, poison, shock, but cold 5, poison 5, shock 15. It's a stealthy 50. That's seduction, but morale versus 9 is not that great. Nature 3. I mean, it's an Astral 1, which 40 gems, and you get an Astral 1 that can easily be magic dueled away is kind of sketchy. But I do like the look of the unit. And then the Cloud Villa. Basically the same thing. I mean, you're getting a Air 3, Astral 1, Nature 2. And like I said with the other, I mean, you're making you're getting a 40 gem Astral 1 to watch it get magic dueled away. So very sketchy. honestly, I wouldn't make them unless you like surprise units with them or surprise enemies with them, since they are stealthy. You can have them go along with their army, and then when you expect a battle, you can have them pop up and maybe cast a high level spell on whatever they're good in, either being nature or air. I mean, that's a possibility. But it might only work one time, because after that, I feel like they'll have their counters up in a way after they see it happen one time. Um, Being that high in Conjuration 7, and having the Astral 1, I mean, take Astral 1 away and give him Air 4. That would be awesome. I would definitely recruit this unit at that point. Um, at that point, you have Fog Warriors caster. You could do the same with the Mountain Villa. Either give him higher. Well, I wish it was a. Well, you can give him higher nature, but you really don't need higher nature, so there's really no point in casting that. So, next we will look at Contact Lishy. 60 gems. Contact. The caster enters a deep forest. I'll just go ahead and read the description for it. The caster enters a deep forest and contacts a spirit ruler, persuades it to aid him. Guardian of the forest. I think you have to do this in a forest. Single horn grows from his head, his feet, and hooved. Magic powers. He can shapeshift into a great bear covered in moss. What you're getting is a 60 cost gem, air 1, earth 1, nature 2. So when he's in his forest shape, so at the time, whenever he's that's just when he's not in the forest. But when he's in the forest, he turns into an air 2, water 1, earth 2, nature 4, regeneration 10. Has all of his slots for his items. Maybe you can maybe you can turn him into a super combatant in a way. But I mean, I don't know why you would want to. I mean, he's not even that great as a giant bear. But I mean, it's a fun unit to make, I guess. But other than that, I wouldn't make him. And then you have Sloth of Bears, which that's all the way in Conjuration 3, which I didn't talk about earlier. But it gives you non-sacred bears, and you really don't want non-sacred bears. You want sacred bears for sure. That's interesting. I'm glad I kind of went over all those just to talk about them, I guess. We'll go ahead and look. If you look at the bottom, you're going to notice that it is turn 12. So this is my turn 12 expansion. So I took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 provinces on turn 12. And we took a very small bless, which actually almost has nothing to do with how well we can expand in the early game. But we will go ahead and watch the first few battles here. I knew we were going into heavy cab. I'll go ahead and pause and explain why I did this. So I halved up the berserkers. I put them on either side, and I set them on either attack closest or attack enemy cav. I wish that guy was a little bit farther back. That's a little sketchy. But he's on cast blessing, 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 and he's got all of his chud berserkers around him. This is just what I've been making out of the capital along with these berserkers here. And they're going to envelop him and push up to attack whatever in the middle. I think they're on attack closest, and these are on attack cav or attack closest. I can't remember. But either way, even if the cav runs up, it's going to be the closest no matter what, so they're going to go after them. But he's going to get as many castings of blessing off as he can to make sure he gets them all. And we'll go back into play. Maybe should have put the berserkers back a little bit more. So maybe about half. Maybe they should have got around there, and then they started running up. But they do, like I said, they do a very good job on their own. My sacreds didn't even get to them. I think they got like 1 kill. So that's what that looks like. I expected there to be more heavy cav. We'll watch the second battle. I kind of had the same setup. These are undisciplined short bows. And then I had the Berserkers on one side and the Russian Warriors on the other side. And then the Sacreds in the middle. This is the first group, I believe, which got added. Another expansion party came together. Until a lot of them going berserk from all the arrows getting hit. I bet a lot of these guys. Oh, actually, they're falling asleep. There must be a nature mage on the other side. But they're getting a lot of our units berserk, which we like. And since we have recuperation, we don't really have to worry about the afflictions they're going to be taking, even though they are getting afflictions. We don't have to worry about them. I'm kind of waiting for one of them to change shape, but they haven't been able to deal enough damage to us yet. Oh, there we go. That's what the bear shape looks like, and we will go over to Bless momentarily. The attack skill of 16 is really nice. Of course, I took magic weapons, but 25 and 23 damage attacks, very, very nice. And very high hit pulls. And we're just watching them clean the rest of this up here. And surprisingly enough, I expected to take more casualties than I did at this expansion, but I'll look over it later. All of our expansion parties are still relatively good to go. That was a misplay. I think he should be on hold and attack back with these guys. I don't know why they're not, but it's okay. Fast forward. Don't think it matters. They don't even have to get blessed. They're just that good. These guys. Cleaning up the rear. Only took one loss as a berserker there. We killed 78 lion tribe. Only took, we didn't take any losses here, but we were using 17 skin shifters, but we did kill 50 troops. We don't have to worry about that. So very, very nice expansion, and we were taking actually very nice income provinces. I mean, this had a lot of troops in it, a lot of heavy cav. That had heavy cav. That didn't have heavy cav. One more of these did. I don't remember which one, but in the way we expanded, we have kind of quartered off a good bit of land for ourselves. I mean, there's a good chance we could take either of these if this army went back over. We have this throne completely to ourselves and surrounded because no one's going to be able to take this, and no one's going to be able to take this. So there's 3 provinces there that we can take later on. Nothing cut off over here. I'm sure somebody would be playing either in one of these spaces over here. So I'm sure this will be taken. Someone would be in the lake, so someone would start over here as well. So I'm sure all this will be taken. Not the best starting location for this map, but it's okay. There's a good chance somebody would start here as well, or start over here in these locations. But yeah, very, very nice expansion. I was surprised it did so well and took so very few losses. I think over the last 12 turns, I think I've only lost one skin shifter, maybe. If not, I haven't lost any, because we have a lot. So there's 13, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 17. 17 plus 15, that's going to be 32. Plus 15 more, it's going to be 42, it's going to be 57. 57 plus 5, it's going to be 63. Turn 12, we already have 63 sacreds being Chud skin shifters. But like I said, you don't. Alright, look at that one. Like I said, you don't want to base your strategy on them. The more I've played as a player, I've came a lot fonder of taking scales over large blesses, just because making money in recruiting mages is going to be a lot more efficient and powerful in the late game than there are going to be sacreds in the late game. Because sacreds, I mean, they're still going to be good in the mid game, but once you get to the late game, it's going to really depend on the amount of magic you can bring to the table. Because if not, you're just going to get stomped. It doesn't matter what bless you have, unless you're building like super combatants, and even then, at that point, having magic diversity and different spells and high research, you'll probably still be easily able to counter most of those things. So just something to keep in mind when you're playing or making your pretenders. Um, we will save game and exit, and I will show you what I made for the pretender. Tools, create a god, early age, where are you at? Already gone over that. Did I take a great enchantress? Maybe I did take a great enchantress. I can't remember. Maybe I did. And this is what I took. Took magic weapons, and I took spirit sight because these are very well. I don't know what you're playing against in your game, so of course these blesses here can change for sure. But usually enough, as far as EA games go, you're going to be playing with either Therados or Ubar, and magic weapons and spirit sight is going to be very very nice to have. Especially spirit sight definitely for Ubar, which also magic weapons would be too. But then, I mean, magic weapons are great for Therados as well, and spirit sight is actually not that bad either. And then as far as the death goes, I just put Undying 3. The reason I put Undying 3 is going to give you 6 extra hit points on your Chud Berserkers and all of your mages that are sacred. And then on top of that, when they change their form, they're going to get an additional 6 hit points to that. So in total, those 3 Undying is actually going to give you a total of plus 12 hit points on your sacreds, which is really interesting because that's something I didn't know. I learned when I was playing Mikland. When you change shape, the Undying counts as a separate, your shape counts as a separate one. So it doubles up on your Undying hit points. And then after that, I mean, I just threw minor and major poison resistance and then 1 point of HP because at this point we already have Spirit Sight, and I mean, low light vision doesn't matter because you already have, you can already see in the dark. So yeah, we can fight in the dark without penalty, so there's no point taking the other one. Gives you another HP point, it's not bad. I just kind of threw minor and major poison resistance on there just because, I mean, you don't have to put them on there. I just did this as an example. But, I mean, could it be good to have? I mean, there's a handful of nations that want to play them that way. As far as early age go, like Satis or Therados. So if you have one of them in the game, this might come in handy. Your mages, depending on which ones you bring, normally enough they can cast like poison resistance for themselves, the non-sacred ones, and then you won't have to worry about this for the sacred ones. But I mean, you don't want a game to go long getting your bears. I mean, they only have 44 hit points, so it will take a decent amount of time for them to get chipped away by poison damage. But I mean, if you have this, you don't have to worry about it at all. But you don't have to take it. There's better things you can take. But I wanted to go up to Nature 4, so you'll be able to forge a Thistle Thistle Mace, I believe. And then at that point, you'll be at Nature 5, so you can cast Mother Oak. Um, that's the only reason why I wanted to go into Nature for this guy. Even though you do have a few Nature Mages, they don't go that high, so it will be a little difficult to get to Nature 5. Something I didn't do, which you could do, is you could put um, Water 1 on this guy. I did take him imprisoned, so keep that in mind. You could go for Dormant, and you'll have to change some things around here. if you want to do Mother Oak early, but I highly doubt you'll be able to. There's just so many nations that want to have Mother Oak, you probably would just want to wait till later to do it. Um, Throwing that 1 point, because you do have enough points to do it, throwing that 1 point of water on there, you'll be able to cast a few nice spells, a few of the summons that you have that require water and death. You'll be able to get pretty high in water just by having water 1, because you will be making rings and things as such. But I mean, once you get up to level 6 construction, you can make a water bracelet with this water 1 taking into water 2. The water 2 can make a water 3, and then you can go from there. I mean, it's one of the summons that you have. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a water 2 spell that got you up to water 3, which is quite interesting because at that point, having a water 3, you can make a robe and a water bracelet will get you to water 5, which is very high. And then you can go from there, of course. Um, Very, very decent scales, not too bad. Income plus 13. Very high order because at this point you want a lot of recruitment points. Not very, kind of lower productivity, but that's because your units aren't very resource heavy because they just have furs and stuff on. I did take growth 3. I like growth. Misfortune 1's not too bad. I wouldn't recommend going Misfortune 3. Just a lot of bad defense. Having Firebirds are going to help counteract that, but you can't have Firebirds in every province enough to counteract all the unpad events at that point, you know. And I did definitely want to take Magic 3 for the wizards that you have. I mean, they're already decent research mages, but going up from 13 to 16, being 125 cost, it's going to be very nice. They're very nice. I mean, I like it. So that's really what I have going on. I mean, you could definitely play around if you want to make like a funny bless or something. You won't be taking very good scales for sure, but I think I messed around and made this like a meme game or something. Uh, Something. I think I went drain 3. Let's see. So much. Uh, this looks like it was a meme that I had. I can't remember exactly. But Blood Vengeance, Regenerating, Bears, that magic weapons, and then your Undying is going to give you plus 10 HP on both of the forms. It's not going to help with the regeneration, but it's going to be a total amount, and they can regenerate out of it, of course. And then just minor poison resistance. Well, I mean, we could put HP plus 1, but it's just a lot of HP people have to fight through versus Blood Vengeance. So very interesting. I didn't win, of course, but it was fun to do just to have. I don't recommend it if you plan on playing competitively, though, because you take very, very bad scales. So that's really all I have to talk about for this nation. This will be coming out Friday, being May the 5th or May the 4th, I believe. I can't remember. Yeah, it's gonna be June the 4th. God knows, I'm a whole month behind by saying May. We should be expecting another series episode coming out this Monday, coming up Monday, so be sure to check that out. Other than that, I'm not really thinking of too much. I mean, I think that was just about everything as far as that goes. I don't have any new series or anything else because I mean I wouldn't say it's a lot of work, but a lot of time does go into these videos. I try to make them as nice as possible, I guess. I'm just gonna leave this recording around an hour and 10 minutes. Hopefully, you guys have learned something. It was a very fun nation to play. A lot of very thematic in a way. I just like them as if they're fun to role play a lot for sure. It's just a fun like a Russian bear nation. um, as far as the predecessors of this nation goes, you have what is it that you have? You have Vanarus in MA, and then you have Bogarus in LA, and it's just kind of them throughout the ages, and they definitely change up a lot. Um, I don't think I've ever played Vanarus, but I have played Bogarus, and they're pretty fun. A very, very astral wizard based nation. Very fun if you like those types of nations. They can be very, very difficult at times. Um, so hopefully everyone enjoyed it. I will be doing a MA overview next week. I believe that's what's on my schedule for next Friday. So keep an eye out for it. I haven't decided if I'll put any other games other than Minions up on the channel. I did record a game the other day, and I spent 40 minutes talking. And while I was doing the recording, I went and checked OBS, and I guess I didn't have game capture on, so it's just staring at a black screen, talking for 40 minutes. I'm talking to myself for 40 minutes. So that was weird. So I had went ahead and deleted it. So you guys have a great Friday, I guess, and I'll see you back here again now on the next one. Bye, guys.